Hello everyone, I'm Anjali Shukla. Welcome to our channel PG Cloud Security. Today we will see how to exploit Jenkins CV present in version 2.441. Let's get started. This is section 5.2.1 of our OWASP EKS code AWS Security Masterclass, and this is a continuation of video for attack section. So today we will see that how to enumerate an application that we got in our previous video. If you remember, we got one IP and we were not able to load it at port 80. So today we will enumerate it. We'll do a port scanning using Nmap. So I am exporting IP, this same IP, into a variable called app IP. And if I'll do echo, it is the same IP that I got in my previous section. Next, I will install an Nmap and run Nmap on the same IP. I am running Nmap with -pn flag and -t4, which is for aggressive timing, and I'm scanning for only 1000 top ports. Let's run Nmap on the same IP. And we found that we have one open port, which is port 8080. Next, I will run curl on the same IP with port 8080 to see which service is running onto this port. Okay, so we have Jenkins with version 2.441 present on this application or on this port, and if you will Google it or if you'll search on internet, you will find that there is a CV arbitrary file read vulnerability present in Jenkins 2. So what happens in this CV? It occurs because of the improper user input sanitization, improper validation of user input, and that allows an attacker to exploit a deserialization vulnerability in the Jenkins CLI especially. And with that, you can get a remote code execution as well. So for the exploit, what we have to do, we have to first of all download a Jenkins client, which is Jenkins-CLI jar, and that we will download from the path JNLP jar. So this client, Jenkins client, is generally present at JNLP jar path. So I will download that client from this path. I have this Jenkins CLI jar file downloaded. And next I will run the exploit. So basically I will first of all confirm that if that exploit is working or not. And for that I will use a command java-jar Jenkins-CLI. So whenever you are running a jar file, that's how you run it, java-jar followed by this CLI. And then the host path, like where the Jenkins is present, the Jenkins URL, and then command. So here I'm taking a help command because it should, whichever command I'm using here, it should be supported by that Jenkins client. So I have chosen help here, and then I have provided a file for my exploit file, which is proc self environment, the famous file. Just make sure whenever you are providing any file path here, you have to put this @ because this was the issue here. So to run this entire command, I am storing all the information in variables like jar file. I'm creating a variable called jar file, and it has a value Jenkins-CLI.jar, and similarly Jenkins URL, command, payload, and exploit file. So let me run this. Though I am getting this error, too many argument, but I am also getting the information about Jenkins file present onto this path /proc /self/environment. I'm getting all the data present in this file. Next, I will try to read another file, which is init.groovy. So we have made certain changes. We have made this init.groovy file accessible to Jenkins user. You can also brute force to get the username and password. However, we'll be following this method or this exploit to get the username and password. So here I have kept everything same. Is just this exploit file name is different. Earlier it was environ file, and now I'm reading init.groovy file because my password is present onto that file. I get so many errors. However, I have my username and password as well. So the username is admin and the password is Superman. Let's open this at 8080 port and log in with the credential that we got. And yes, we have successfully logged in into our Jenkins server. Next, we have to change our directory to Jenkins _CV. So this is an additional step. We have to create an EC2 instance to get the reverse shell in later part of this series. So for that, we are creating an EC2 instance. I will change the directory, which is Jenkins _CV. And next, we will create an EC2 instance. So for that, we need certain things like we need an key pair to SSH into EC2 instance. Then we need an security group, subnet. So all the values I will fetch. And lastly, we'll create my EC2 instance. So as you can see, I'm creating a key pair. Then also I'm creating a security group, and like it is allowing all traffic. It means all the ports are open from 0.0.0. And this EC2 instance, the security group is present in US East 1. And obviously I'm creating an EC2 instance in region US East 1. And finally, I am running EC2 run-instance command, which is used to create any instance. And then at the end, I have added some weight as well so that I get my EC2 instance in a running state, because I need to fetch its public IP at the end. And my EC2 instance is created. Let's export its public IP, which I will consider as attacker's public IP. I will store in this variable. And lastly, doing echo. So this is my attacker's public IP, and this 35.91 is my vulnerable server, vulnerable applications IP. In the next video, we will try to leverage IMDS v2 to exfiltrate IAM role credentials. Make sure you watch next video as well. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe our channel.